What do you think the importance of the Women's March is?
It's immeasurable. So after the election, it's really important that people feel like their voice matters, and the Women's March demonstrated to people that they could get out and their voice mattered. And there were a lot of people who shared their opinion across the country. So it's the best of America.
The march started after the announcement that Donald Trump had been elected president. Two women, Bob Bland, a fashion designer, and Teresa Shook, a Hawaiian grandmother, both had an idea to start the Women's March in Washington. Teresa Shook posted a website for the event, and by the next morning, the page had over 10,000 supporters. Bob Bland consolidated the pages into one, and they started to plan the event. Although they faced many challenges, one of them being that the name they had chosen, Million Women March, was also the name of a march that had already occurred in 1997. That march was led by African American women, and people saw that the two women who had named the new march were both white. This caused for most people to drop their interest in the march because of the lack of diversity. So 3 more women activists were invited to join the planning for the march: Tamika Mallory, an African American, Linda Sarsour, a Muslim American, and Carmen Perez, a Mexican American. These women not only had a great deal in making the march happen, but also made it clear that all racial groups would be represented and fought for at the march. They officially changed the name to the Women's March on Washington and started publicizing the event. Although the march is bipartisan, a lot of the motivation for the march was caused by President Donald Trump's racism, sexism, xenophobia, anti-immigration beliefs, and anti-Semitic appointees. Quoting Carmen Perez, "Women from all walks of life coming together. That is what resistance looks like in challenging the racist system in this country that goes beyond Donald Trump." In the United States, there were 654 marches held and approximately 4.2 million attendees in total. Places included New York, LA, San Francisco, Chicago, San Diego, Atlanta, Portland, Boston, Oklahoma City, Dallas, Oakland, Cleveland, New Orleans, Honolulu, and 640 other towns. The Women's March movement spread across the globe. In all, there were 261 international marches and about 300,000 marchers. Marches were held in places such as Paris, France, Nairobi, Kenya, Melbourne, Australia, London, England, Lima, Peru, Helsinki, Finland, Halifax, Canada, Ajijic, Mexico, Rome, Italy, Erbil, Iraq, and even a ship in Antarctica.
Hi, I'm Sally.
And I'm Jan Lee.
What inspired you to march?
Well, the Women's March was huge, I think, for many of us, most of us women, because it was such an important event to be a part of and to come together and to show our strength and our numbers and how much we care about our country and our families.
What inspired you to start the Women's March?
Wow. One of my dear friends collectively sent out an email to a number of us and said, all right, ladies, there's a lot going on. It was November around Thanksgiving, and we need to do something about this. And so we met in our friend's living room, Rachel McCutcheon, and we shared why we were ready to take action.
What inspired you to start the Women's March?
Tough question, but easy answer. After the 2016 presidential election, there was a lot of divisiveness and rhetoric that was being spoken of during the campaign, and that has since followed, about our democracy. So I felt it was necessary to participate in an event that allowed us to have our voices heard.
But once I started attending the meetings and seeing what it was all about, I thought that it was important for me to actually be part of it and to help as much as I could in what capacity I could. And it was also important for me to be a better role model for my daughter. That was a big part of this. She's politically active and I wasn't at all, and she was all about using your voice, and so I thought, okay, let me stand up for what's right.
What was your specific role in organizing this march?
Let's see, we all wore multiple hats, and mine was specifically about security. So I was coordinating with our team and with the Walnut Creek Police Department.
What was your role in organizing the Women's March?
So I was one of the people that helped with the speakers of the march. So I helped talk to the elected officials and get them involved. And then also we got lots of different, we wanted to have people representing the different qualities that we were standing by. So for instance, we had someone talking about the environment, we had somebody talking about women's rights, we had somebody talking about, so we had different people representing different groups.
Okay. And when you created the Women's March, what sort of impact on the community were you looking for?
Gosh, we were excited and hopeful. If we got 500 people, we thought we were going to be doing fantastic. So we wanted to have a large statement, and well, in hindsight, we had quite an impact.
So truthfully, I think that we were hoping to sort of meet like-minded people and sort of share our concerns and make sure that our voices were heard.
What was the impact that you saw?
So I think all of us, nobody was more surprised by the amount of people that came to the event than us. So we originally thought we would have a couple hundred people, and the fact that 10,000 people ended up showing up to our march was sort of astounding to us. So it was a really empowering event for everybody, really feeling like we weren't the only ones who were concerned about our country and concerned about the democratic principles that we all really hold dear.
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. The adrenaline that you feel when you're in that type of an environment was just very rewarding and fulfilling to know that you're not alone in your thoughts and practices of trying to make this world a better place, and that together we can make a difference.
Do you plan on hosting an annual Women's March in Walnut Creek?
We do plan to host events 2 to 3 a year. I don't know if it's going to be specifically a Women's March. It may have a different umbrella, but it will be hosted by the Women's March group.
So at this point, we do not plan to do an annual Women's March. We are a part of the general Women's March organization. There's a statewide one, and then there's also a national one. And we do see what it is that everybody's doing. So if everybody were to say, yes, let's do a Women's March, we would do another march. We're not opposed to it, but we don't have plans at this point to do another Women's March.
In your perspective, what sort of message do you think the march gave?
Wow, I hope the march gave a very positive message for everyone. I mean, we really focused on women, but on teenagers and girls and anyone and everyone else who might feel just slightly marginalized, LGBTQ+, everyone who feels they need to be that they are underrepresented. Like, we want to show that we stand together. Everyone, human rights, women's rights, our basic rights, our human rights. And we want to make sure that that message gets sent loud and clear to our current administration.
I think it has a positive effect. I mean, my whole family came, my husband and my daughters came, and it was exciting, and we're coming to other events that are sponsored by the same group as a way of coming together as a community, and so I think it's pretty positive.
So I understand you put on a science march. How is the cause that the science march stands for related to the women's march?
Okay, so we believe that we need to support science and technology in our country. We want people's access to education and innovation. So we felt like it went well with the principles that we hold dear. We also want to be a big part of our community as far as letting people have their voices heard within our community about things that are important to them. So that's sort of one of our principles too.
Again, it was an issue that was being misportrayed in the media and the rhetoric from the campaign. Science is real. And so with the global warming issues that were taking place, us getting out of the Paris Accord, our president saying things like it doesn't exist, that it's fake news, we felt there was a need.
What did you enjoy most about the march?
Well, what I really enjoyed about the march was being there with my friends and us fighting and protesting for what we believe in.
Well, I've been marching since we were burning the ball, so that was a long time ago. So I'm continuing the fight.
Okay, and would you say that the march had an attendance of multiracial people attending, different genders,
Always.
sexualities?
Every march I've been in.
And do you think that the attendance at the Women's March was very diverse?
Well, I guess it depends on which women's march you attended.
So I went to the Seattle March, and I brought my very Republican family with me, and it felt diverse to me.
I participated in the Washington, D.C. event.
And can you give a brief description of your overall experience at the Women's March?
Inspiring. Unbelievably. Probably the one of the top 5 events in my life.
What is the importance of the march in your perspective?
Well, I thought the Women's March brought people together from all over the Bay Area, not just Walnut Creek, but from Concord and Pleasanton, and it was a really unifying experience.
Do you have anything else that you would like to add?
Okay, for all of you people out there who don't think you're feminists, definition of feminism is the belief in men and women equal to each other, okay? So if you believe that men and women should be equal and are equal, then you are a feminist.